What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode 374 of the Hoots Podcast, recording to you live from the Break Free Room here in lovely Chicago, Illinois on this Thursday evening, August 17th, 2023. Give quick couple birthday shout outs. First off, happy birthday shout out to Saraya from AEW, formerly Paige of WWE. Also, shout out to a special person in my life, a good friend, Kiana, celebrating her birthday today as well. I am chilling and rock and rolling today here, just ready to go on an adventure with you guys. We're going to go through a lot of different roller coaster of emotions, and this episode is going to be a lot more lighthearted, at least hopefully for the first half and third quarters of the show. If you're easily offended and sensitive when it comes to criticism, when it comes to the world of AEW, this may not be the episode for you. You see the title of this week's episode is called Inmates Running Wild, and I have a lot of stuff I need to get off my chest. So if you're easily offended or upset with what I say about AEW, I'm not doing it for agenda purposes. I want this show, this promotion to be good, but they get in their own way. And I don't know what else to say than that. They get in their own way, and we'll talk about that later on at the end of the show. But a lot of other stuff to talk about. We're on the road to Payback in Pittsburgh, which is going to be in a few weeks. Looking forward to that. We got a lot of questions this week from the Back Porch Q&A session, and those who are watching us live right now on our YouTube channel at the Hoots Podcast, please do us a favor, like this video and subscribe to our channel as we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We appreciate the support. Anytime you guys check out the show for 5 minutes, for 5 episodes, whenever the situation is, if you take time out of your day to check out the Hoots Podcast, it means a lot to me, and I appreciate the support from each and every single one of you. I am Brother Adam, aka Joshie Lopez. You can follow me on Twitter at the Hoots Podcast. Also, hit me up on Instagram if you like at Josh Lopez Media. The Hoots Podcast comes to you free of charge anywhere you get your podcasts from. Just type in the Hoots Podcast. It's easy to find. We're on a bevy, a potpourri of platforms like Spotify, what? Google Play, what? The Odyssey app, what? That's right. Let's see, iHeartRadio, what? There's a lot of different places to check out the Hoots Podcast. So, after last week giving out the CLAHN of the Week award to my Chicago White Sox, they seemed to double down on their ineptness and decided to get walked off home run to the Chicago Cubs. God, we are brutal. We're bad. We're really, really bad. I really try to keep a positive mindset when it comes to Chicago sports, but enough's enough, man. Like, we're at the bottom of the barrel. The Bulls suck. The Hawks suck. The Cubs are middling their way to the playoffs, I guess, in the NL, and the White Sox are ass. And the only saving grace I got is the Chicago Bears. And what does that tell you? I gotta get my hopes up on the team that went 3-14 last season, and I'm supposed to sit here with a straight face. Oh, everything is kumbaya with Chicago sports. It's rough. It's rough out there. On a lighter note, things are going good on my end. Another good week. Hope you guys are in good spirits. Life is good when you don't have distractions and just stuff that doesn't matter at the end of the day seep into your energy. And since I moved out here, I was like this at the other place too, but especially more now since I moved in here. I'm very cognizant and protective of the energy I choose to acknowledge, especially when it comes to like stressful situations. I always look at stress as the energy that you choose to acknowledge. You want if something is bringing you down on something that's not your own fault, why do you choose to spend energy and time on it? You know what I mean? So I'm happy, man. I got no complaints. Life's good. Another work week with this workout stuff has been going good. A lot of water. What? It's a lot of agua. What? A lot of steps. Haven't got to the point of any fatigue yet, which is good. Which means stuff is working. I got a checkup appointment coming up on Tuesday. God, I can't remember the last time I went to the doctor. It's gonna be a smooth process and just getting some blood work. I haven't had a checkup in a while, so I'm gonna get that done on Tuesday morning. See where I'm at. Honestly, like I said before, when I started this whole workout stuff, like I haven't really like gone on a scale to see where I'm at and stuff like that. I just not that I don't care. It's just I had to go through this 100% all in the productive way. Unlike the all in pay-per-view that we're supposed to believe that's going to be a good show from Wembley next Sunday. But anyway, so I'll say that for later on. I had to literally have to be all in with this whole process, and I had to go with it 110%. And I just had to go. I just had to start doing it. And I haven't really felt the need that I need to go on a scale and see where I'm at because I know this is gonna be a long journey. This is not something that I'm gonna do for 5 or 6 months and see progress and whatever. and then just go back to my old ways. Like, this is a continuing process, and this is a new lifestyle for me. This could be a new time period for my life, and there's a lot of new changes I've been making since I moved in here, and it's been for the better in a lot of ways. And um, it's good. It's good. I want to say I don't know if anybody's ever excited to go to the doctor, let alone for a checkup, but um, I am to a certain extent just to see where I'm at, and it gives me more motivation to see what more I got to do to reach the goal I'm shooting for. And I'm already seeing progress. I don't need a scale to tell me whether or not I'm making progress with this stuff. And I'm just in really good spirits. I'm very grateful for the setup I have here. Um, I don't begrudge people who go to gyms and have the revenue to make that a reality. I don't drive. I'm not employed right now, so I can't even afford to plan at a gym if I wanted to. But I got dumbbells that I use after each walking session. I I do a lot of extensive and sometimes overboard walking throughout the week, and I just try to shoot to at least have an hour or 90 minutes a day of walking and handle my business. And just a lot of other stuff obviously I've been doing and scaling back and stuff like that. And it's just good, man. You always hear about the like health benefits about like walking and just general workout stuff, but um, it also clears a lot of things as well, just from a mental point of view, from a positive light, because like when I'm doing these walks, like there's a lot of like things that I've like kept inside that's been releasing through each like rep that I do. And that's been a lot of fun too. There's times where I'll finish a rep where I had just like not like venom, but it's like I'm walking and I focus. I'm just doing what I need to do. And once I reach that goal for that particular rep or that day, especially like days when I finish a long day of walking in that final rep, like there's some points where you just want to scream like like you just want to like fuck yeah, like I'm glad that I did this. I'm glad that whatever was on my head at that time while I was doing the walk is gone. It's eviscerated. It's gone. It's deleted. delete, all that stuff. That process for me is fun in a lot of ways, and it's rewarding, and it's just good. It is. So I'm curious to see where things go with the checkup on Tuesday. It's not gonna be over complicated situation. I know how to handle situations with doctors. They're gonna ask your questions. I'm gonna let them know what's going on, and then we'll do some blood work and see where it goes from there. But just in this process and everything that's gone on this year, I've really been trying to do everything I can to pivot things towards a more positive point of view, even with the fact that I don't have my job that I was furloughed from. Everything right now is just benefiting me. So yeah, I'm not technically employed or working every day, but I am actually working on me. So can't complain. Life's good. I'm working on me, and that's what matters. And I'm I'm putting my work in. It's not easy. Today was a really really extensive one. I've been sharing some like updates on each day I do walking, not in a not in like a, I would say, bragging point of view, but more of a holding myself accountable. So if you see me on Instagram or Facebook sharing what I did for a particular day, it's not in any light of like trying to say, hey, look at me or whatever. It's really holding myself accountable just to see what I did for that particular day, and I can see where I am. And it's good reminder. I obviously have all my information on a Steps app that I use, but also at the same time, it allows me to go back to see where I'm at, what I need to do for the next day, like just little different challenges like that. And it's been good. It's been very good, and I can't complain. I think close to like 40 miles this week, which is freaking nuts. So it's going good. I already see progress. I don't need a scale to tell me that I'm not making progress or whatever. I am working. Yeah. The the only part about this whole process is that I don't get paid for it, you know? You can't get paid to work out, I guess, but that's cool. I'm getting paid in just having better health, feeling better about myself, having a clear state of mind, and just like everything else that I would allow to bring me down just doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't. I feel blessed. I'm grateful for every day I get to wake up because tomorrow's not guaranteed. And I just try to make the best of every situation and learn from just observing a lot of different things. I try to learn something new with recording the show like this every week. And we've been having a fun ride here. I've been very grateful for all of you who take time to check out these shows. We're 26 episodes away from reaching episode 400, which is pretty cool. I want to give a shout out to my buddy Brett on Facebook. How's it going, buddy? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. I'm just really happy right now. I got no distractions. I got no drama, unlike AEW. Um, if the worst part of my week is having to come on here doing these "What the hell is wrong with AEW" segments, I'll take that. If the worst part for me, my week, is having to come and dissect just nonsense from an outlaw mud show, then my life is good, and that's just what it is. So, but like seriously, like we're 26 episodes away from reaching episode 400, which is cool. It'll be here before you know it. WrestleMania tickets are coming out tomorrow. I think they're on sale tomorrow, right? So that's pretty cool. I said I wanted to make a goal to make sure that I go to Philly next year for WrestleMania. It really, really bummed me out that I missed out in LA this year for a lot of different reasons. Mainly because I wanted to go see my sister. I haven't had a chance to go see her since she moved out to California in that setting. And I wanted to make that happen. And these trips to like WrestleMania and stuff like that, when I had my job and I was like covering the events that those weekends, they mean a lot to me. They really do. Even if there's times where I'm not part of like the contingent that gets to go to the scrums or allowed in the press box and stuff like that. Even with that, it's still a really great experience for me to be out there and network with people, and those trips mean a lot to me. It's not just a fun hobby thing. It's really great to get out of the city sometimes because the city gets very monotonous and very robotic at times. Yes, obviously, being born in Chicago is a blessing in a way, and sometimes it's a curse too. And I'm very grateful for having a good support system here. Obviously, everything that should be acknowledged is acknowledged. I love my family, all that good stuff, right? But I feel like I'm at the part of my life where like it's time for me to go. It's time to me to start new and start this new chapter in my life. And everything that's gone on this year with losing my job and my apartment, I just feel like I'm taking like 3 steps back at times. And it's like nothing more I want out of my life right now is just to get out of Chicago more than anything. And that's the honest truth. And I will get there. I will get there, and I'll make the most of it when that time comes. And it's just going back to what I was saying earlier about with the walks and everything. Like everything right now, I'm just doing to better myself overall. I'm reshaping how I'm seeing my life. I'm reshaping how I see myself. More importantly, spiritually, figuratively, all that fun shit. And I'm in really good spirits. So I appreciate everybody who's been sending encouragement along the way with this stuff. It's been cool. I'm very happy. We'll get through this checkup thing on Tuesday. Getting her out. Get my blood and see where I'm at with this stuff. But the road to 205 continues. Again, I just want to reiterate for those who do check out like my stories on like Instagram or Facebook. Understand like when I share those daily updates of like how my steps go for that particular day, it's not to like hey look at me type of thing. It's not that. It's me to hold myself accountable. if I show those two things, I have no excuse but to do it. I haven't found a time or day yet since I started this for the last 2.5 months where I'm like, you know what? Today, I'm just not gonna do it. I'm not in the mood. I'm gonna come up with an excuse with it. I just haven't got to that point yet. So I have to hold myself accountable, and that's why I share those when I'm done with those particular days. So it is what it is. But if those who are been encourageable with this whole situation, it doesn't go unnoticed, and I appreciate and love all of you. So, with that being said, let's get into some questions, shall we? It's time for the back porch Q&A session here on the Hoots Podcast. As always, if you have any questions for yours truly, you can ask me. It doesn't have to be wrestling related. It could be life, relationships, music, sports, whatever you want. Let me know, and I'll answer your question, give you a shout out on air. So let's do this, shall we? As tradition here on the podcast, we start off with the good brother Chris Zaletta at XTeenZaletta24X on Twitter. He says, "What up, Boost? Here's some questions for the Q&A this week. With Trish's recent run, is there any female you would like to see return for a run?" Very good question to start off here. Let me take a swig of water because I've been talking nonstop for the last 15 minutes. Okay, so with this question here, it's pretty simple. I would like to see a proper send off for Mickie James. I've always said that Mickie's been my personal favorite female wrestler of all time, and I think she's due to have a proper send off in WWE, just like how she started back in 2006. And I think she does great stuff on Busted Open. She's had a really tremendous run in Impact Wrestling. But for me, if I had to pick one person that's not in WWE and is a legend, I would like to see Mickie James come back. But that's just me. Next question. Which NFL teams do you expect to be absolute stinkers this upcoming season? That's a very good one. I got a couple of surprise ones for you guys. I've been off track the last couple seasons by forecasting the demise of this particular team, but I really think it's going to happen this year. The San Francisco 49ers will not make the playoffs this season. I just said it right there. I don't know what Brock Purdy is. I don't know if what he did last season was a fluke, but there's been people that have left that team. Sooner or later, people got to figure out Kyle Shanahan's game. And I'm not saying that he's a bad coach, but I do think to a certain extent he's overrated, in my opinion. And, you know, losing to Miko Ryans to now him being the head coach of the Houston Texans, to see how that plays out. I think that, for me, I definitely think the 49ers are first on that list of teams that I just think are not going to be great. Another one, Minnesota Vikings. They're definitely taking a step down this year. That's a shot. Yeah, this is not going to be a good year for the Vikings. Sorry to Nate the Great out there. And then, let's see, stinkers wise, maybe Atlanta. I guess I heard they have some good reports about their defense, but I don't know. That NFC South is a freaking crapshoot, if you know what I mean. Like, you got the Saints. Shout out to Brother Carter. I know he's going to be super excited when he hears me say this, but literally, it's like the Saints and then everybody else. You don't know what Carolina is with Bryce Young, right? They got Adam Thielen in the offseason, but again, he's at the back nine of his career. You got Tampa Bay and whatever the fuck is going down there. And then you got Atlanta. I don't know. It just looks like it's going to be the Saints division just to run through roughshod, and we'll see how that plays out. And even then, I don't even think the Saints are that, like, super power of a team, but that's just my opinion. Next question. Thoughts on Lacey Evans' departure? Well, I think that's very unfortunate to the crowd, if there is a crowd out there that says that I never say anything negative about the WWE. Well, make sure you perk your ears open here, because I think that Lacey Evans leaving is a just very, very unfortunate fumble situation for WWE, because for me, I've seen a lot of potential for her, whether she's a heel or a face, and I know they tried with a lot of different things with her, and I think she was talented. Now, granted, I know she has said some stuff recently that I personally don't agree with, and some questionable things and stuff on social media. But even then, I've always been a fan of Lacey Evans. I think she's a good person. Obviously, the waterfall, that speaks for itself. And good luck with her stuff at OnlyFans, whatever. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is like I think there was a lot of potential for her all around as just a versatile performer. And I was really into the whole like Southern Belle gimmick. I thought she had a lot of potential. She didn't have to be Sasha or Charlotte or Bailey or whoever in the ring. She had those intangibles that a lot of performers don't have these days. Like, she could talk, and the stuff she does inside the ring placates to the character that she's playing. And I never thought, like, when I seen a Lacey Evans match, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be brutal. Or that saying, man, got all the intangibles and then the bell rings. I never felt that way about Lacey Evans, and it's very unfortunate. Maybe just a combination of the stuff that she said online, that dumb stuff with supposedly Ric Flair getting her pregnant, that dumb angle. Just a lot of people just became indifferent towards her. And it's unfortunate. I think she's very talented, and she could be a very valuable asset to the industry. And I hope it's not a situation for her where she stops wrestling, because she is talented. Her going to AEW, I don't know. that promotion is a cesspool as it is. I already call it what it is. It's a WWE rehab center. If you're offended, that's a you problem, not a me problem. It is a rehab center for WWE performers. And then, if you have to ask me, when it comes to Lacey, I think her in the NWA would be pretty good, or on Impact. But good question there, Chris. Thoughts on SmackDown's ending last week? Stay tuned for this week in WWE. I'll let you know there. Do you think this is Edge's last match tomorrow night? I do not. At the same time, Edge, Adam Copeland doesn't owe me anything. Adam Copeland doesn't owe us anything, too. Like, Adam Copeland, if this is the time for him to retire, where he wants to go out on his own terms, he has every right to make that be the last match. Do I believe it's the last match? No. And then there's this running thing over Twitter the last couple days where everybody's fancy booking him to go to AEW. Have you guys seen the Hardys work in AEW for the last 2 years, especially in the ring? You're telling me that for nostalgic purposes that Edge and Christian and Hardys would work in 2023? Have you watched their shit? Have you seen Jeff Hardy since he's come back to AEW? The funny thing is, Christian has been the best performer out of the three from that four people scenario. What? Oh yeah, let's bring it back. Let's run it back. Let's do Edge and Christian and the Hardys in AEW. Let's bring in the Dudley Boys. Let's do TLC or Escalera de la Muerte, or whatever the fuck they call it in AEW. Like that's what we're doing. That's what you want to fancy book. That's what you want to watch. Everything that's gone on this week with that promotion, and you want Edge to end his career there? Come on. Like, come on, man. Seriously? I don't know about that. I just don't. I don't think this is gonna be his last match. I think there could be a scenario where Edge wins, and Karrion Kross attacks Edge and maybe Kross gets into a program with Edge. I don't think this is it. But if it is, I want to give a shout out to Edge because he's had a tremendous career. I've always been a big fan of his work for many of years. Um, it makes me kind of feel old because Edge is one of those popular young rising guys I started seeing when I first started watching wrestling in 1998, and I seen the entire run from him, from the Brood to Edge and Christian to the Rated R Superstar, the injury. Obviously, these last 3.5 years with him coming back from injury has been a lot of fun. I love the stuff that he did with Roman. The feud with Rollins was tremendous. Edge having this stuff with the Judgment Day this past year, it was a lot of fun from a different character style presentation point of view. Edge is a Hall of Famer and then some. I'm very appreciative of what Edge has brought to the wrestling industry. If this is his last match in Toronto, I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for wrestling. So, next question: does Jade eventually return to AEW? I don't know what the situation is with her, guys. I really don't. Can you guys inform me what's going on with her? Is she mad? Is she upset over the fact that she lost the TBS title? I don't know what the situation is. You want to talk about falling in the bag with talented female performers? How the hell is Jade Cargill not involved in this Wembley Stadium show? Is Jade Cargill not worthy enough to be in this almighty fatal 4-way match that we're gonna see? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what the situation is. And even if she does return to AEW, like what's she gonna do? I don't know. It's weird. Which match are you looking forward to Multiverse number 2? Speaking of that, we'll be making a little preview for that show a little later on the program. For me, it's probably the main event. I think Shelly and Tanahashi will be pretty good. The battle of Dragon Screw Leg Whips. I think that's gonna be pretty good. Next question here goes like this: any interest in Naito and Sonata for Wrestle Kingdom? Yes, a lot of interest. Obviously, Sonata left LIJ high and dry after Wrestle Kingdom this year, and Naito, being the winner of the G1 Climax 33 tournament, definitely is a matchup that a lot of people would like to see. And it's a different style of main event for Tokyo Dome that doesn't have to rely on Kata being it. So, yes, I'm definitely down with having that match at Wrestle Kingdom. I think it's going to be tremendous. Let's continue on here. Next question: your favorite moments in the last 50 years of hip hop? I don't have the particular year right, but whenever Eminem did the I think it was like a VMA award show or something like that. He came out with the Real Slim Shady performance. That was, or Hi, My Name Is. That was a tremendous moment. I don't really necessarily look at moments. I just look at particular artists. Obviously, Notorious B.I.G. That goes without saying. Those who have been long time viewers and listeners to this podcast knows how much B.I.G. means to me. So obviously, Biggie and what he's contributed to the industry is obviously up there for me. And then, there's been a lot of good like performances over the years I've seen from like Jay-Z and Drake. Like the other day on YouTube, I saw Drake's start from the bottom performance at again one of those VMA MTV like award shows. And that was a crazy performance. Kanye West, when he first did Runaway on TV, that was a that was a tremendous performance. I really enjoyed that. I really did. It was a lot of fun. It was very good. You know, Kendrick Lamar's Humble over the last couple years. And then most recently, getting to see Busta Rhymes get his flowers at the BET Awards. That was very good performance as well. I have my partial bias. I'm a bad boy uh, fan when it comes to just music in general on the hip hop and R&B tip, but that's just me. Also, underrated one. If you guys go back the day, I think it's 2005. Check out "Still Tipping" with Mike Jones and Paul Wall. That performance that was pretty good, if you know what I mean. All right. Last question here for Chris. He says, "Who do you think beats Camille for the NWA Women's Title eventually? Do we see her on a bigger platform in the future?" Uh, Great question. This is not a knock towards Camille. Ever since I got furloughed, I've stopped watching the NWA, and it's really unfortunate for me to say that as somebody who prides himself on watching a lot of different wrestling throughout the week. But I just haven't had the time or have the want to watch NWA, knowing that I'm not having my job attached to it, and that's what the situation is. I don't mean to be. No, I do. Like, I gotta be blunt. I gotta be honest about it. NWA was like one of those shows like AEW Dark or Elevation where, okay, I'll watch it, I'll cover it, and I'm doing it for the money. And NWA falls in that category. I enjoyed the brand when it first came back, and I've seen the recent interview that Billy Corgan did with Chris Van Vliet, which is really good. If you guys want to check it out, it's pretty good. But over the last, let's say, year and a half, I've just grown to become very indifferent towards the NWA. Um, and I just haven't had a chance to watch their product recently. So I don't know who's the number one contender, who could possibly take the title off her. But Camille is a tremendous performer. She's a tremendous performer in more ways than one. She's definitely a talent down the road that I would love to see in WWE because she's a lot of people call themselves like a lot of different monikers, and you see them on TV and like, nah, you're not really that. This girl is a brick house, and she's a real deal. She really is. I enjoy her work, and yeah, I wish I could give a better answer to that, Chris, but I can't because I just don't watch the NWA now, so I can't really help you out with that. But thank you, Chris, for the questions this week. I want to give a shout out to the good brother Mike Rubio here, our final batch of questions this week. And also for those who are watching live here on Facebook or on YouTube, let me know if you guys have any questions down below. Just let me know. Hit me up. We'll go from there. He says, "What a boost. I know I missed a few weeks getting in, but I have my chair pulled up and ready at the back porch. I had several questions on my mind, to be honest. Where are we going with Grayson Waller? What is the biggest star he'll get to on his show? Cena, Trish, The Rock?" Well, Grayson has already had John Cena interaction at Money in the Bank. I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe Trish would be pretty funny, but I don't see that happening either. You know what? My best guess here is either Grayson Waller has a segment at WrestleMania with Austin or The Rock. That's my guess. And a lot of people are trying to convince themselves that it's going to be Roman and Rock instead of Roman and Cody at WrestleMania 40. I think that ship is sailed, man. I have to see to believe it whether or not The Rock is going to be in the ring again. So we have to wait for Hobbs to make up his fucking mind whether he wants to be a wrestler again or not. So until then, I can see him do interaction like a talking segment like that with Grayson Waller at WrestleMania. But as far as The Rock in the ring, I have to see to believe it. Next question here. Speaking of where we're going, how long do you anticipate Dominic to be the NXT North American champion? I'll give it 1 or 2 months. That's just my estimation. I mean, this could go longer as much as want. I mean, the guy is a draw, I guess, to a certain extent on NXT. They've been getting some good ratings with him being the primary source of those ratings. And he's one of the best characters in professional wrestling right now. So it depends on what Dominic wants out of it for his schedule, what's best for the NXT brand. I can see it going for another month or two, but we'll have to see where things go with him, where things go with Judgment Day, and then you'll get a clearer picture of how that title reign is going to end up. Also, who wins the next title for Judgment Day and how? Great question. I think that there could be a possibility that Damian Priest cashes in on Seth Rollins at Payback. Just throwing that out there. Something's got to give in here. Here's the deal. There is a possibility where Damian Priest may cash in and lose. Now listen to me before everybody freaks out. Okay? There is a possibility where Damian Priest can try to cash in and Finn Balor costs him that cash in. Now, on paper, obviously, you usually like to have the people who win Money in the Bank to win, right? We saw what happened with Austin Theory last year with the U.S. title. That was a little iffy, right? But here's where you have the storyline and then you have what's on paper, right? Of course, Damian Priest would be a good World Heavyweight Champion. I'm not saying he can't. And I'm not even saying him cashing in and losing would set him back or make him buried or whatever anybody would say. But you have to be very cognizant of where things are right now with the Judgment Day. Something's going to give. Either Finn Balor is getting kicked out or Damian Priest is going to try to cash in and Finn Balor costs him that cash in, just like Priest cost him the title at SummerSlam. It's something to think about, okay? And I'm just throwing that out there just to forewarn you. If you're in the camp where, it doesn't make sense for Damian Priest to cash in and lose, I just gave you your explanation there. So, I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's a scenario that I could see happening. But that's just me. Next question. Who stinks worse after watching that series, the White Sox or the Cubs? And it's not even close. It's the White Sox. They should turn Guarantee Rate Field into a freaking parking lot. Fire the parking lot person. Tear down that restaurant, that expensive ass restaurant across the street from it. I don't know. that ballpark, that organization, that baseball team on 35th and Beck is a civic embarrassment. I can't even come on here and just like rant and rave and just like bring down the entire mood of the show because I gotta do that later on with AEW for other reasons than what you're actually thinking. Like I want to keep this positive. I really do. I'm in good spirits. I'm really happy. I don't want anybody misconstrued for those who are watching or listening to that I'm in a miserable mood or anything like that. I'm not. I'm in a good mood. But it's been a miserable season for my Chicago White Sox. It's tough to watch. Nobody gives up more late inning comebacks than the Chicago White Sox. Our bullpen is a disaster. Our manager is a neophyte manager and just totally clueless. And then we get walked off by a guy who barely hits a lot of home runs and is by the Chicago Cubs and is at Raggedy Field. You have the worst combination. You're at Raggedy Field, right? You're playing the Cubs and you get walked off by a guy who barely hits home runs. Oh, man. We Stinks is not even like a understatement at this point. We Stinks is a forever slogan now with the White Sox. Sell the team, sell the team, sell the team, sell the team. Lord have mercy on me. Please sell the team. Thank you. All right, let's go on to the next question here. What do you think of the Fall Out Boy cover song for Big Ten college football on Peacock and NBC? Does it rank above any of the NFL songs? I don't know. It's kind of mid to me. Like I'm kind of indifferent to this song. I like Fall Out Boy, but for a football song, it's kind of to me. Also, what NFL themes get in your head the most? NBC, CBS, or Fox? I think for me it's CBS. I always been traditional when it comes to like when my football intake has always been the CBS intro. For me, I've been a CBS guy. I watched the CBS pregame shows. What was it NFL Today? I think it is. I always watch the CBS pre-shows on Sundays during the football season, so I'd probably say CBS for me. Obviously, NBC is classic, regardless of what sport it is, so their intros are always great. But I'm not a Chris Collinsworth fan, so conflict of interest, if you know what I mean. And then Fox is Fox. After Joe Buck and Troy Aikman left, it's just a revolving door of okay announcers. I'm not really a big Kevin Burkhardt guy. I know him and Greg Olson will be calling the Packers and Bears game, and that's just a bad omen because every time Kevin Burkhardt calls a Bears game, the Bears lose. Let's continue on here. Let's see. Have you watched the Untold Johnny Manziel episode on Netflix? I thought it was eye-opening. I have not yet. That's something maybe I consider watching this weekend. I usually get my downtime to watch and catch up on things on the weekends. So, like Saturday, this is the thing with me not having any family or not a relationship or anything like that. I got all the time in the world for myself. So this is the opportunity where I could like calm down and just like relax and watch some movies and stuff like that. So I'll check that out. And I'm also curious to see this new project that came out on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial that I watched in living time. I'm curious to check that out too. I think it's gonna be pretty good. That's a good question, Mike. I appreciate asking that. Hindsight is 2020, but what do you think of Becky Lynch and Trish fighting on Raw but not SummerSlam? Was it the right call? I say yes. Well, more times than not, I try to give you the clues as to what's going to happen and why certain decisions are made for the right reasons. Yeah, people always want to go by booking. Well, booking says this. Oh, this is what was it I heard the other day from that dweeb, that twat kicking it with Ross. God, what a twat. One of the biggest twats here on YouTube that spends his entire day trying to act like he's a wrestling expert and using all these buzzwords, just trying to make himself so smart. He has all the answers to booking. And no, Becky and Trish did not need to be on SummerSlam. You didn't need Mike Johnson. I like Mike Johnson. Don't have any issues with him. You don't need sources. You don't need websites to tell you whether or not it's the right decision for a match not to happen at SummerSlam. Even as shitty as that Ronda Rousey Shayna Baszler match was, I still wouldn't even have Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus on that show because the crowd would be sitting on their hands just like that terrible crowd in Winnipeg was sitting on their hands on Monday night. So no, I'm not surprised that the match went the way it went on Monday because I seen it a mile away. This is the difference from me and everybody else that has blue check marks and gets to go to all these events for free and fly out and do all this fun stuff, is that I can pinpoint the stuff that's actually happening without trying to pretend that I have sources and stuff. This is the observations of somebody who actually watches the show, not pretends to be an expert in the field. I watch and observe stuff that has nothing to do with backstage politics, who's booking this, who produced that. I don't care. I don't give two shits. I have a brain. And you know what's great? You want to know my sources to the stuff that comes out of my mouth when I see professional wrestling? My left and my right eye. Those are my sources. Those told me that Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus did not need to be on SummerSlam. And I'm glad that Triple H doubled down on his decision not to have them at SummerSlam. AEW should take some notes on not having 70 people on a freaking card just to have all these people on the card. Let's continue on here. Speaking of women's wrestling, do you think Jade Cargill is really leaving AEW after losing the title? I think she should leave AEW. What else is she going to do there? Who is your sleeper pick for the NFL season? The Jets, maybe? I don't think they're a sleeper. I think the team's getting a little bit too much hype. I get I get it. Karen Rodgers is there, but I don't know, man. Something with the Jets is giving me an odd vibe. I know they got to get defense, and they're trying to ride the momentum of the two rookies that they had last year that won offensive and defensive rookie of the year. But with that, even with all that being said, like I'm not sold yet on the Jets. I have to see it for myself. Do I think they'll be a Super Bowl contender? No. Do I think they have a chance to make the playoffs? Maybe. But I do not consider that team a sleeper team. I'll give you my sleeper team, and it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. There you go. What is your favorite NXT match since it became the new structure after the 2.0 Color Splash phase? I got a couple. Braun Breaker and Ilya Dragunov comes off the list there for me. That was a fantastic match. Wesley and Dijak from what was it, Vengeance or Valentine's Day, whatever it was, NXT Vengeance Day. Just some other stuff like that. Carmelo Hayes and Dragunov was a good match. Anytime Noah Dar is in the ring with Tyler Bates, always a lot of fun. I think Noah Dar and Nathan Frazier will have a good match. Dragon Lee and Nathan Frazier is another good one recently. There's a lot of them to choose from, especially for Braun Baker's catalog. Even that early stage of the NXT 2.0 era, the matches he had with Grayson Waller and Tommaso Ciampa were pretty good. Carmelo Hayes lives up to his moniker. He's definitely a man who does not miss. So those are the ones that stand out the most to me. Next question here. What company has most gotten on your nerves to deal with over the phone? Well, Mike, I'm not really a person that's on the phone that much, so I can't really tell you like which company gets on my nerves. Most of the times when I'm on the phone, I have to talk to the people that are in the city of Chicago when it comes to like health stuff or whatever we all do with our local cities, that type of stuff. But I can't say there's a company that I get at that gets on my nerves while dealing with them on the phone. I'd probably say maybe Xfinity when it came to the cable stuff that I was dealing with at my old apartment, but even then that was what it was because I still use Xfinity to this day. So for my I just have Xfinity modem that I have to pay $85 for each month. It's not too bad. It's not the end of the world. What do you think of Paul Heyman saying that the Bloodline story is in the bottom of the third inning? I think there's like 2 outs in the 8th or 9th left. What else can you see happening in that storyline? Well, I think a lot of you are taking that too literally from Paul Heyman saying that they're in the bottom of the third. Whether they're in the bottom of third, fifth, sixth, seventh, what, regardless of what inning they're in, we're in the long game here. I think that's the point he was trying to express. Okay, yeah, bottom third is maybe a little unrealistic. Maybe they're at, let's say, the top of the fifth or maybe the bottom of the sixth. I think the point that Paul Heyman is trying to express, and I think it's going over people's head, is that we're in the long game here. And I've said this before on the show. What's not broke does not need to be fixed. Roman Reigns' title reign is not broken, so why do we need to rush to the bottom of the ninth and get it over with? I spent the entire episode last week explaining to you why this notion that the bloodline jumped the shark was a stupid take. And do I think that we're at the bottom of the third? No, it doesn't. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what inning we're in. The point that Paul Heyman is trying to express is the fact that we're in the long game here. When the time is right, those questions will come up. When the time is right, you'll see Roman versus Solo, and Solo turns on Roman. Maybe new members come in. Maybe Cody beats Roman Reigns. Whatever the situation you want to conjure up, when the time is right, that time will come. But I think a lot of people are taking it too literally with Paul Heyman saying that we're in the bottom of the third. Yeah, him saying we're in the bottom third, the intent was to piss you off, and it worked. He did his job. It pissed you off. It got you in your feelings. Now you want to have snarky comments about what inning we're in. And I'm not talking about you, Mike. I'm just talking in general. The stuff that I see on Twitter now. I can't go a day without seeing, what inning are we in now? Or they try to make jokes towards Cody's direction. Oh, are you still going to finish your story? Like that chick, Kate, whatever her name is. Like, okay, maybe you don't rock with the bloodline. That's cool. That's your prerogative. But numbers don't lie. Facts don't lie. Business don't lie. And at the end of the day, this is the wrestling business. It's not a wrestling charity case. We're in the long game here. So you can be upset as much as you want about the bloodline and Roman Reigns. Guess what? It works. And that's the bottom line. As that man back there says. Let's go on to the next question. What do you think of LA Knight's promo versus The Miz? I thought the promo segment was good, but it's also, I thought Miz kind of had the edge over LA Knight in the promo segment. I think Bully Ray expressed it a lot of points that I've had towards LA Knight, not in a derogatory point of view because I'm a fan of his again, but where's the second gear to LA Knight where it's not just, hey, let me talk to you, and dummy, yeah. Like, LA Knight's got those cool, catchy catchphrases. That's great. But what else? What else is there outside of the catchphrases? Where's that second gear? And I think Miz is going to be the guy to pull that out of him. And I'm all in for this feud with these guys because I think they could do some good business with each other. Does it make you feel old when you see a Hall of Fame class, especially in the NFL, and you watch all those guys' careers? I feel like I'm getting to that point. Slowly but surely, for me, I've been noticing that. I've noticed that a lot more with baseball Hall of Fames more recently, and the NBA Hall of Fame more recently than the NFL. Like, seeing like Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki and those guys go into the Hall of Fame, I'm like, man, I am getting old now, which is crazy. I've seen your entire run. So I see a little more of that trend and that feeling for me personally, more in baseball and the NBA than the NFL. But that's a good question. And the final question here for the podcast this week is, what is your best advice for dealing with test preparation and test anxiety? My girl is taking a high-stakes test for teaching, and I'm trying to guide her through the roller coaster. I can't help you out with the preparation point of view because a lot of people have different methods, and I can't put myself in other people's shoes. All I'm going to say from an anxiety point of view is just be very cognizant of the fact that this is a one day at a time process. And whenever that time comes for the test, whenever that test comes around, just go through it and just kick ass. Smile about it. Don't try to work yourself up heading towards the test, because then you're going to be in your head while the test is going on. And I think that when it comes to the anxiety point of view, is that you just got to be loose, man. Like, you can't overthink it. You got to let it come to you. And that's kind of the approach I had when I had my, like for example, when I had my Berkeley audition when I was in high school. I went to this recording studio that's by the John Hancock building in Chicago. And it's called the Chicago Recording Company. And that's where they had the auditions. And that day, was I nervous? Like, did I feel like just overly anxious and like littered with anxiety? Yes and no. But I had to go in there and just walk in there with a clean slate and just had the weight off your shoulders to just do it. You know, you're putting in the preparation. just enjoy the process. If you're overthinking it and you're stressing yourself out as you go into the test, it's not going to do any favors as you take the test. That's just my advice. So I want to thank Chris and Mike for some great questions this week. As always, if you guys ever want to participate in the Back Porch Q&A session, all you have to do is hit me up at Twitter at the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com or the Hoots Podcast on Twitter, aka X. When we come back, I'll let you guys know what my thoughts were in this week in WWE. It's going to be a more abbreviated segment this week, but we'll be right back right here on the Hoots Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, time to talk about what happened this week in WWE. Like I said, it's going to be a more abbreviated segment this week. But I want to start off with this before we get to the stuff that happened on Raw and SmackDown and then on Payback. With this week's Back Porch Q&A, I kind of touched on a lot of different things that would have been addressed in this segment. But let's talk about it here. Last week, I showed the interview that the Usos had with Ariel Helwani and kind of give you the context of why they want to work with each other, right? And what can we see when we get into the weeds of a Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso rivalry, and how does that look on TV? Like, what was the context and the substance attached to it? Now, I want to take a little different angle this week and kind of talk a little bit more about just the weird fascination that wrestling fans, especially WWE fans, have with the pencil, the booking. Booking's the only thing that matters in wrestling, right? Booking's the only thing that matters. And especially on wrestling Twitter, booking's the only thing that matters. Well, I don't agree with that sentiment. I think you can actually watch the television show and understand that what we see on TV each week, more times than not, are plot points. And no, you don't need to have the answers to why a certain feud is happening on just one particular episode of Raw or SmackDown. And we've had conversations before about LNI and the sentiment that WWE doesn't want to push him because he got organically over, whatever the hell that means. So I found this interesting clip from the 83 Weeks podcast with Eric Bischoff. And like I said, this is going to be a brief segment this week. Not saying that this week was uneventful or anything like that. Hey, we got a new United States champion, so shout out to Rey Mysterio. But I think the real meat and potatoes that I want to express here with this segment is just kind of open your guys' eyes to how silly and stupid you sound when you go on these little random tirades about booking, especially on WWE. And for those that campaign that dumb hashtag WWE logic I see all the time, it's the stupidest thing I ever seen on Twitter and social media. No shit. It's their promotion. They have a right to tell their stories with their logic. If something doesn't make sense on Star Wars, oh, that's Star Wars logic. Or the fact that I finally saw Fast and Furious 9 the other day, and I seen freaking Tyrese and Ludacris go out to the fucking space. Am I gonna come in there and say, oh man, that's that Vin Diesel logic, that's that Fast and Furious logic? Do you hear and understand how silly and dumb that sounds? Don't let me say it for you. Let the man Eric Bischoff show you how silly all of you sound. This is a conversation that Eric Bischoff and Eric Bischoff and Conrad Thompson had about LA Knight and just the over fascination with booking talk. and I hope you guys enjoy it. So here we go. Let me pull this up here, and let's do this.
Let's take your opinion. Like if this was WCW and you had the fans organically getting behind LA Knight, it wasn't something we drew up in a boardroom. I bring that up because that's sort of what happened with Goldberg. I'm not comparing the two, but I am saying Goldberg wasn't necessarily in your long-term plans. Oh, we're going to make this guy. The fans get behind him, and then you're like, well, shit, it's hot. Let's go with it. There's been some hesitancy over the years on the WWE side of things, or so it feels at times. And this guy's getting over, but we're not going with it. Whether that was Rusev or before him, it was Daniel Bryan, or before him, it was Matt Cardona. At the time, of course, Zack Ryder. It felt like this could be that next guy, but I'm curious, do you think it will be? This is a slightly different WWE. According to the rumor and innuendo, Vince McMahon is not in the nitty gritty day to day of the booking. So maybe not. What do you think?
I think, without having any insight from anybody in WWE, I've never had this type of discussion with anybody in WWE, but having competed against them and worked with them for a number of years, both as a talent and being around backstage and a part of the process, as well as being an executive for a cup of coffee, I think there's a feeling or a theology in WWE that you don't rush it. Don't go too fast, because going too fast can ruin it. You want to make sure the audience is actually buying in. I think they've bought in. And regardless of what's going on internally or not going on internally in WWE, I do believe that Paul Levesque has the experience and has seen what happens when you don't listen to the audience and don't let the audience dictate what they really want. He's also seen what happens when you rush somebody too quickly.
Yeah.
And they're not ready for that spot. And I think LA Knight has found himself, number one, he individually as a pro has found his sweet spot. And I think the timing is such in WWE that he'll move along quicker than perhaps he would have a couple years ago.
I wanted to ask your opinion too about what you would do with him next. I mean, I think it's easy for people to say, "Oh, put the world title on him," and I know that's what a lot of his fans are saying on social media. Do you think the right move would be to maybe go the U.S. title route or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, again, I sound like I'm beating up on social media wrestling fans, and that's because I am, and I choose to, because most of them fucking deserve it.
Okay.
Okay, put the belt on him right away. Make him a world champion. And then what, bitches? Then what? Where does he go from there? Downhill. That's where he goes from there. Let him grow into that role, much like they're doing with Cody.
Yes.
They're forcing the audience to demand it. That's called getting someone over. You morons. That's how it's done. And man, why not just sit back and enjoy the ride for however long the ride lasts, instead of getting to the destination and not knowing where to go next? I mean, that's internet booking. That's why internet booking doesn't work, because you're reacting to what the internet wants and what the internet says. Tony Khan, are you listening? That's why you don't listen to the internet, and you go with what works, and you discipline yourself, and you have a plan, and you stick to that plan. Even though, as we've seen with Roman Reigns in years past, the plan may not seem to be working, find a way to make it work and stick with it. LA Knight, I think, has got an amazingly bright future ahead of him. Stay healthy, stay positive, take whatever role they give you and make it work better than anybody else could have anticipated. And enjoy the ride. And if you're a fan of LA Knight, enjoy the ride, because once it's over, it's over. And there's, hopefully there'll be something you like as much, but don't rush it.
All right, that's Conrad Thompson and Eric Bischoff from the A3 Weeks podcast, one of my favorite wrestling podcasts out there. I really don't spend too much time. I really don't spend too much time like on different podcasts because I think a lot of them just say a lot of the same stuff over and over again. um, and for me, I just when I watch the shows now, like if it's like a wrestling podcast, right? I check it out. There's some good ones out there. More times than not, I listen to the pros than I do like more the fan shows like this. Like I've always said before, this show I don't feel like I'm above anybody that's a wrestling fan. I have my opinions. That doesn't make my opinion better than yours. Like when I bring up stuff that has substance and context to it, I'm using it for that point. I'm not trying to come on here and degrade wrestling fans, but there's a lot of freaking idiots on wrestling Twitter and people who do shows like this or like that Kicking with Ross guy that I talked about earlier. And it's like you tie yourself in knots with these weird fancy booking ideas and concepts and philosophies of how things are supposed to go with a wrestling show. Watch the show. It'll tell you where things will go. Why do you need an answer for a feud the first Raw or SmackDown after the pay-per-view is over? Like I don't get it. And it's always these easy concept ideas. Oh, they should give Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa the tag team titles. Okay, tell me how we get there and what happens after the fact. You heard Bischoff right there with LA Knight. I don't personally feel that LA Knight needs a prop to be considered over. That's just my opinion. But we're not letting things play out. And I understand that this is a serious issue and people deal with this stuff, and I'm not degrading people who do. But this really is really cognizant of this microwave society that we're in. Everything has to be now. Forget short attention span. I don't even know what the hell span we could call wrestling fans these days in 2023. It's all over the place. You want a case in point of why you don't let things rush and let things breathe? Look at the Judgment Day. Look at the Bloodline. Look at Sami Zayn from his feud with Johnny Knoxville to where he is right now. I mean, hell. Look at Seth Rollins in his journey coming out of the pandemic. Look at Dominic. These things take time. I get it. Not every episode of Raw or SmackDown is going to be go home to WrestleMania level. Nor should they. Again, a lot of these shows are plot points. And I think WWE at times does not get enough credit for where things are with the storylines because people are just so gung-ho about the whole Vince McMahon deal. And I could watch the show and some things are good, some things are not. I'm glad that they switched things up on the commentary end. That's long overdue. That's a complaint of mine that I've had for a while, and I'm glad that they made that switch. But I just think that a lot of WWE fans in the WWE universe just tie themselves in knots and go in these soliloquies about booking. And as you hear them talk, and you're like, are you listening to yourself? Are you hearing the shit that's spewing out of your mouth as you go on these tirades? Are you listening to yourself? It's like it's like somebody who never went to church starts conducting a sermon at a church on a Sunday. You know nothing about the Bible. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just talking to talk. I'm not a booking expert. I never booked anything in my life. The only thing I booked is me walking my happy ass around my apartment every day. That's the booking I have. Every time I wake up in the morning through Monday and Friday, I wake my happy ass up and walk through my apartment here for an hour to 90 minutes every day. That's my life That's the only thing I book. And maybe the meal press that I have here in my house. That's it. That's the only booking I've done. I never booked a wrestling show. I can't tell you what's right or wrong. But again, it's just like the fascination with the fancy booking stuff, and it's the like Bischoff said, oh, do this just for the hell of it, and then what, right? So that is what it is. Let's talk really quickly about what happened to stuff on TV that I liked, maybe didn't like. I saw the angle with Rey Mysterio and Austin Theory, and this is a loophole that I think they had to dance around with, because I think Rey did get legitimately hurt in his match with Santos a couple weeks ago for the U.S. title. So on the premise, you could look at the situation and be like, oh, it doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you just let Escobar win the title if you're going to have the title change in the first place? Well, Rey Mysterio is going to be on the Grayson Waller effect tomorrow night, and I think there's a writing on the wall that maybe Escobar turns on Rey Mysterio. And this is a week-to-week industry, whether you want to choose to acknowledge that or not. We're in a week-to-week business, folks. Things are going to change. Shit happens. And this is why I watch TV. I don't watch pro wrestling as a sport. I don't. I never watched it as a sport. That's why I don't come on here and throw conniption fits about wins and losses and looking, because that stuff doesn't matter to me. The stories that are told inside the ring when it comes to the pay-per-views and stuff like that, that stuff matters to me. So, okay, Rey Mysterio beats Austin Theory for the title. I don't know how that does not make sense, but, you know, it would be wrestling Twitter without projecting what does and does not make sense in a world that is not real, and we have predetermined wrestling matches, but we want to talk about logic and stuff like that. But that's neither here nor there. I like the promo that they cut with Edge and Sheamus, giving background as to why they're having this match. I thought it was kind of surprising those two never had a singles match before. So, I never knew that they never had a singles match. So, tomorrow they'll have the show, at Toronto, Edge and Sheamus. We'll see what happens there. We had the stuff with the Bloodline. Chris, I'm going to answer your question now that you asked earlier. I thought it was very good. You know, Roman Reigns is the master manipulator. You know, he's trying to say, hey, Jimmy, you want a yacht? Let me do a favor for you for helping me retain the title and maintain my status as the tribal chief, right? And just like I said on the show last week, Jimmy right out said that he did not help Roman retain on his behalf. He was doing it for a bigger purpose. And that's something that's going to rear its ugly head, because, you know, more times than not, when you see things that people say may or may not make sense, they don't really have a grasp of reality. Family, you can share blood with somebody. That doesn't mean that person is all about you and care about you to the end of the day. And that's the harsh reality of life, too. Like I said earlier, I have a great support system. I love the family members that I have from both sides of my family. Very fortunate for the upbringing that I had. But I'm not going to come on here and say that everything's been rainbows and butterflies. And I'm not even going to say there's people out there that are not shady and people that I can't trust or people I don't spend as much time with, you know? Like, is what it is. Like, I'm very self-aware in the energy that I surround myself with for a certain reason. I got to protect my peace. And that's what it is. And to be naive that family members would not stab each other in the back, figuratively, not literally, you're just naive, because that happens all the time. Parents lie to their kids sometimes with crazy things that gone on. people get jealous of other family members for their status or type of relationships that they're in or whatever. This stuff happens. And jealousy and anger in families, especially brothers, twins, that happens too. And we'll get more layers to see where things are going. Obviously, these went a little awry on SmackDown as Jay super kicked not only Roman, but also Jimmy on the way out and decided that he's going to quit WWE. Now, I like the added touch of them adding him to the alumni page. I thought that was pretty cool. No problem, no harm, no foul there, right? So we go there, and obviously, storyline reasons, you would expect that Jey Uso will be back sometime soon. Where things lie with Jimmy? I think it's probably a good cognizant call for them to not have Bloodline stuff advertised for the show tomorrow. Let tomorrow's show be about Edge. If you have like a sit-down interview with Paul Heyman, with Michael Cole, or Corey Graves, no harm, no foul, right? But where do things stay? Where do things lie with like Jimmy Uso and Roman? Where the tensions are with Roman and Solo? Where is that going? Usually reasons to watch. And that's the thing, like when you try to fancy book things, you can get yourself in. It's a double-edged sword. You can fancy book things, and then it doesn't happen, and then you choose to say it doesn't make sense because it's something that you didn't do, right? And that's why you gotta let this stuff play out. And then if you get that fancy booking right, you're the same person that says, "Oh, it's predictable." Watch the show. That's what I'm trying to express here this week. Just watch the show. It's not that hard. It really isn't. But go to Raw. The crowd of Winnipeg this week sucked. Even objectively watching, if I had the show on mute, I thought Raw was okay. I wouldn't say the show was great or good. I thought the show was decent on Monday. But that crowd was brutal. That crowd was Joe Dutch bad. That was just not good. That crowd was terrible on Monday. And I watched the show. You know, Cody Rhodes and Finn Balor, very good main event. The stuff with the Judgment Day with JD McDonough, that was very good. Him and Sami Zayn had a pretty good match. Gunther, the segment with him in the Alpha Academy, very good. It said that it was going to be Gunther and Chad Gable for the IC title this Monday on Raw. Do I believe that match is going to have a conclusive finish? I don't think so. I think you'll get a rematch at Payback. Some type of shenanigans. Maybe Gunther tries to hold on to the ropes. Maybe Vinci gets in the way of Gable and tries to get in the good graces of Gunther, because Gunther has this thing where he gives tough love to Kaiser and Vinci, and he gave them a stern talking backstage on Monday, right? And you can see a scenario where Vinci or Kaiser try to get on the good side of Gunther, and they'll find a way to make sure that he retains the IC title. So you'll probably get a rematch between those guys at Payback, and I have no issues with that. So when it comes to Monday's match, it could be a scenario where it's a no contest, or something where Gunther's holding on to Rhodes, or he uses Kaiser Vinci for leverage. Whatever the situation is, I don't think it's the last that you'll see with Gunther and Chad Gable. It's a good match. It's a good program. It's something that's worthy enough of being on Payback. So, I know it's being advertised as the IC title match, but as I see that, it looks a little bit more of window dressing than I think folks are trying to admit to themselves. So, we'll see where that goes. Rollins and Nakamura. I don't know what Nakamura whispered in Seth Rollins' ear, but maybe that's something that we can figure out on next episode, the next week's show. Obviously, those two have a very good match at Payback. The Trish and Becky stuff, I enjoyed the concession brawl, but the match, just like I said earlier, further solidified as to why that match should have been on that SummerSlam card. And now this is going to be a steel cage match. I don't know. We'll see how that plays out, if you know what I mean. but that's neither here or there. All right. Last thing I wanted to mention here with WWE this week is Payback. Obviously, we got Rollins and Nakamura. Looks like Gunther and Gable. Maybe it's something where Jimmy has to fight solo in order to get him towards Roman. I have no issues with that. I think that'd be pretty cool. But the Judgment Day, unless we get a return sometime soon with Kevin Owens, I think we're gonna have Sammy and Cody against Damian and Finn at Payback. There's two scenarios. I see KO coming back, and you can make that a 6-man tag, or you could do, you could do, like I said, Cody and Sammy against Finn and Priest. So that's my scenario there. And then Matt Riddle, I'm just gonna let you know right now, bro. Just watch your back, because you are gonna get Claymored next week, and it's gonna be beautiful. Yeah, Drew McIntyre's turning heel next week. So that is my thoughts this week in the world of WWE. All right, folks, one more segment to do right here before we head to our main event segment this week. And let's briefly discuss some stuff from the G1. I want to give a quick congratulations to Tetsuya Naito for winning, and a tremendous match with Okada this past Sunday. I did my final transcription for this current run. As I'm still on furlough, I decided to cover the G1 for you guys. So first I want to thank all of you who took the time to check out the G1. My G1 coverage this year. It's been a lot of fun covering that. And going forward, the Pro Wrestling Transcriptions website will be on hiatus until further notice. But for those who did check out those articles, it meant a lot to me. So I appreciate those who checked those out. But Naito, I thought, was the right winner for the G1 this year, and he deserved it. The match with him and Okada was awesome. The one that Naito had with Ospreay the night before was crazy too. Last week was a blur, man, for me. Not only with the workout stuff, but like mixing 5 G1 shows. Last week was a blur for me. This week it's been a little more back to normal. So I had some more time in my end. So I did like some more extensive walking this week. I think I'm gonna scale a little bit back next week. I went a little bit overboard today, but I wanted to challenge myself, so I got up to like 20,000 steps today, which is pretty cool. And that's not a goal of mine to do every week, by the way. But I'm glad I was able to pull it off. It was pretty cool. Anyways, back to wrestling here. Naito being the guy to defeat Okada and be the guy to win the G1. It's definitely the right call, and I could have been more happier for Naito, so that's pretty cool. There's a couple events coming up this weekend that I wanted to bring up here to you guys before we get to our main event segment. Excuse me. It's a big weekend in Philadelphia this weekend at the 2300 Arena, as we have the All-Star Junior Festival 2023. Here are your participants for the promotions. We have Matt Sydal and Nick Wayne from AEW. From Console Manuel de la Lucha Libre from CMLL is Sobrano Jr. and Fugaz. For DDT Pro Wrestling is Mayo. Dragon Gate USA is Dragon Kid and Shun Skywalker. For GCW is Blake Christian, Jack Cartwheel, Jordan Oliver, and Starboard Charlie. From Impact, it's Ace Austin, Alex Shelley, Chris Bay, Leo Rush, Mike Bailey, Rick Swan. Monster Factory's Goldie will be part of it. And from New Japan, it's Bushi, Clark Connors, Watt, Doki, El Desperado, Francisco Akira, Hiromu Takahashi, Kevin Knight, Kosei Fukuda, Master Wato, Robbie Eagles, Rocky Romero, Ryusuke Taguchi, DKC, TJP, Yoshinobu Kanemaru. for Ring of Honor, Cheeseburger, Warrior Wrestling, Casey Navarro, and then free agents, Lowrider, Vinny Pacifico, and Enzo. How about that? Enzo's going to be part of this event coming up on, I think it's on Saturday, right? Let me take a look there. Yeah, it's Saturday. 2300 Arena, so that's going to be pretty cool. Here are the matches that are announced for this show. We have Jordan Oliver and Nick Wayne taking on El Desperado and Mayo. We have a triple threat tag team ladder match for the Pats Kings of Steak Philly Cheesesteak Cup. It's Hiromu Takahashi and Rocky Romero against Blake Christian and Master Wato and Doki and Lowrider. We have a first round match in the All-Star Junior Festival Tournament. It's Kevin Knight and Clark Connors. Francisco Caro be taking on Mike Bailey. That is going to be a very good match. We have a tag match with Matt Sydal and Yo against Bushi and Shun Skywalker. That should be decent. We have a 6-man tag featuring Rich Swann, Ryusuke Taguchi, and DKC against Jack Cartwheel and Enzo and Starboard Charlie. That's a 6-man tag. There's this Lucky Dip 8-man tag that's going on. I don't know what that is. There's another. Hold up. We'll have the finals of the tournament that night as well, and then there's a 5-way main event. It's Dragon Kid, Fugaz, Casey Navarro, Leo Rush, and Sobrano Jr. So those are the matches announced from from All-Star Junior Festival. And then the next night on Sunday, which is going to be on Fight TV, it's Impact Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling's Multiverse United 2 For Whom the Bell Tolls. What a great Metallica song, by the way. So Multiverse United 2 from the old ECW arena. Here are the matches on the card. We have on the pre-show, it's Joe Henry. I believe in Joe Henry. And then it's Joe Henry, Yuya Uemura, and Heath Slater against Rocky Romero and Ryusuke Taguchi and Master Wato, former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. That is going to be a trios match. The other match of the pre-show is for the Impact Digital Media Championship. It's Kenny King taking on Yoshinobu Kanemaru. We have a 7-way scramble match, which will probably kick off the show. It's Bushi, Chris Sabin, El Desperado, Frankie Kazarian, Kevin Knight, Mayo, and Rich Swann. That should be pretty good. We got Doki against Sami Callihan. That's a very odd match pairing, but it's probably going to be pretty good. Sammy, watch out for that Italian stretch. The Italian stretch number 32. Or as Kevin Kelly would like to say, the Doki Choki, the Doki Choki, the Doki Choki. We have Leo Rush and Trey Miguel against Hiromu Takahashi and Mike Bailey. We have Julia against Deonna Purrazzo, Giselle Shaw, and Momo Kongo for a 4-way match for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. We have TMDK members Zack Sabre Jr. and Shane Hayes taking on Moose and Eddie Edwards. That's going to be a very good match. We have a 12-man tag featuring members of the Bullet Club, Ace Austin's Alex Coughlin, Chris Bay, Clark Connors, David Finley, and Kenta against El Phantasmo, Josh Alexander, PCO, the DKC, and the Gorillas of Destiny. What could go wrong will go wrong in that match. Just thank God the House of Torture is not at this event. And then the main event is Alex Shelley against Hiroshi Tanahashi for the Impact World Championship. So, pretty solid card from top to bottom for both nights. So, if you want to check out these shows on Fight TV, go check it out. Support New Japan and Impact Wrestling this week. It's going to be a good weekend of shows, so I think that's going to be pretty cool. But with that being said, it's time for the main event. And like I said at the beginning of the show, if you're easily offended and sensitive to criticism for AEW, it may be time for you to stop watching right now. Because it's time for another stellar edition of What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. Let's start this bad boy off in a 3, a 2, a 1.
Your meat, beat 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 your meat.
I'm telling you, my time is right now. Right this minute, 2022. We're living it. My time is now. My time is right. God damn now.
Man, what intensity.
The quality of the product and the quality of the shows is at an all-time high right now. But I do know that it's a real war between AEW and WWE.
I'm still cashing fat checks, and I am still banging the hottest bitch in this entire place.
It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW?
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Oh boy. Lord, have mercy on me as I go through this segment. Can somebody with half a brain explain to me what in the blue ever fuck is going on with this promotion right now? I don't even know where to start with this nonsense. You guys see the title of this week's episode, and I think it's pretty obvious what I was going to talk about this week on the show. At this point, talk about Dynamite is becoming completely useless. Dynamite is the worst television show in wrestling today, and I can't even consider Rampage a show, so I'm not going to be coming here and slander the show. But like Dynamite, if it's not MJF or Adam Cole or FTR related, this show is complete and utter ass. A couple other exceptions, Renee Young and Saraya for obvious reasons. But you get what I'm saying. AEW Dynamite on TBS is a weekly outlaw mud show, not nonsense, dirt sheet festival. I have no time or energy to waste my breath on Dynamite and break it down segment by segment because there's nothing to talk about. It's the same shit every fucking week. It's let's start out this show with pockets. And you know it's a bad recipe for a Dynamite show? When it's pockets and Wheeler Useless to start off the show. And then guess what happens? Well, we have an afterbirth brawl. And then we have matches announced last minute when we had 6 fucking weeks to build for what's being billed as the biggest pro wrestling event of all time. My ass. You can have fucking 130,000 people at Wembley Stadium. That show's still gonna suck. That show and that card is complete and utter ass. Good thing I'm doing this right now and it's not like 11:30 where I don't have to wake up my grandparents as I'm recording this right now. Because there's a lot of venom that I want to spew off my chest, and I'm really trying my best to be disciplined and measured with what I'm saying, where I'm not becoming like other people who do shows like this. But here's the funny thing, right? What the hell's wrong with AEW? It's gone to the point, and Dynamite especially, it's gone to the point where I am agreeing with stuff that JD from New York is saying. I don't know what's happening to me. Like, I don't know if people are seeing the light that I was starting to notice from day one. But now people are noticing the ineptness and the nonsense. And trust me, we'll get to the CM Punk stuff in just a little bit. But I had to say this. It's like, are we going to continue to act like we're not watching an inept promotion being run by an inept booker, an inept owner? Like, what are we watching? The fact that your new show Collision, that's only been around for 2 months, literally 2 months, because Collision made its debut on June 17th. The fact that your new show, barely 2 months in, has already showcased the flaws of your flagship show in a 2-month span is not a good thing. And don't give me that it's a new company excuse. It started in 2019. It's 2023. Stop with the fucking excuses. Okay? Enough with the excuses. I am up to here with the excuses with AEW. All Elite Wrestling, if we're going to play patty cake with each other here on these shows and kiss Tony Khan's ass so you get all these awards from these dirt sheet sites, go knock your socks off. I'm not doing that to myself. I don't need to be at the scrums and kiss his ass and do all this stuff to get over with that bubble. I don't want to be in that bubble. And I'm not even doing this to try to prop up stuff for WWE. Ever since we started this segment, the premise was just to have some fun and lightheartedness and be like, okay, AEW is a good thing for the wrestling business. We do this, we have some fun, and point out that not every little thing they do is the greatest thing of all time, right? Because that's how wrestling Twitter and a lot of these shows act at times. The AEW's Teflon, and they do nothing wrong, right? So we brought the alternative approach. And now it's like, even when I try to turn the other cheek, even when I try to change my tune and shift my direction and my venom towards AEW, everybody thinks I hate the promotion and I want it to fail and this and that, which is complete and utter bullshit. I want it to be good, but I'm not falling for the bit just because it's not WWE that suddenly we have the Monday Night Wars and suddenly we have a real legitimate competitor. My ass. Look at the business that WWE draws compared to AEW, and you're going to tell me that we're in a war? What war? A war of which side of the wrestling spectrum on social media is full of their own shit? Biggest wrestling event of all time. And guess what everybody's talking about this week? More CM Punk drama. I could have done this entire episode on this whole CM Punk stuff that's been going on in itself. But I didn't want to because that's what everybody else is doing. And they're going to talk in circles and they're going to regurgitate the entire shit and talk in circles and go debate about which source is right, which side of the fence is telling the truth, blah, 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 blah. Here's the deal. CM Punk needs to grow the fuck up. You have no right to say that a talent relations guy, head of talent relations for an organization, is not allowed at the B show just because you're in your feelings about it. Just because your trainer is not allowed to be at Dynamite. Who gives you the right to say who or doesn't get to be at a show? Unless we're supposed to believe now that CM Punk has EVP powers in AEW. So what's new this week? Oh, supposedly CM Punk is kicking people out of the locker room. CM Punk doesn't want Ryan Nemeth to be there. He doesn't want Christopher Daniels to be there. He doesn't want the running lip man to be there. I love CM Punk. I love the guy, man. I do. He's my guy. But all this stuff since he's joined AEW since day one has been nothing of a circus-filled drama fest that he gets in his own way And I'm not saying that the elite are not at fault with this. Everybody's at fault with this. And look, I'm not even going to blame this whole situation on Punk. Okay? But the premise that a wrestler who is not an EVP gets to dictate who does or doesn't get to show up at a show is complete and utter bullshit. And you know why it happens? Because he got a fucking enabler who signs his checks, who is his butt buddy. I'm from Chicago. Tony Khan's from Chicago. I love CM Punk. Tony Khan loves CM Punk. If I was in his position right now, no, I would not be getting on my knees and letting Punk do whatever he wants and make me look like a fucking inept owner. Because that's what you are, Tony Khan. And I hope you're watching and listening to this, because you're not going to hear these questions coming up as you celebrate yourself in London next week and you celebrate this big Wembley Stadium show. And nobody's going to ask you hard questions because they want to be your friend and be part of the booking team like Will Washington. Here's the truth, man. You need to wake up. Seriously, you need to wake up. You are getting in your own way of your own promotion. The fact that this is still being leaked out to dirt sheet sites is the first problem. You want to be the alternative to WWE? Find the mole or the rat backstage that keeps feeding this information to Wade Keller or Nick Hausman, who's doing great work, by the way. I want to give a shout out to Nick, another person from Chicago. I'm not knocking Nick here, but here's the deal. There's somebody backstage that's leaking this stuff out to the dirt sheets. And I'm not even blaming this whole situation on CM Punk. I believe that somebody there's out there who has it out for him. And a lot of these issues start at the top. And that, again, just illustrates the culture and the environment at this promotion. Where's the Wild Wild West? And I said it earlier, it's a WWE rehab center. Oh, it's okay. You can come here and do whatever you want. You can have your own creative. You can say whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you no. I'll let you walk all over me because I'm a mark and I'm a wrestling fan. I'll let CM Punk do whatever I want. I let him talk shit about my father and he'll get away with it. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm just using an example, right? These issues start at the top, and I'm sick and tired of the excuse making for Tony Khan because he is the root of all these problems. You got your biggest cash cow, right? Your number one property in CM Punk having a blood feud in real life with your EVPs and Hangman Page and Kenny Olivier. They can't figure their problems out, and they can't be professionals in the industry that's called pro wrestling. So AEW is the home for professional wrestling, right? Yet the organization is filled with people who are unprofessional. Tell me how that makes any sense. How are you the home of professional wrestling, Excalibur, when you have people in your locker room and your organization who are unprofessional? You don't... You guys don't get it, man. Oh, everything will be fixed if these guys just get into a program with each other. And then what? You guys realize the matches don't live up to your expectations? The best saving grace that you can have from this entire scenario is what we're going to see with FTR and the Young Bucks, because that's the best match you're going to get out of this scenario. That match with the FTR and the Young Bucks is the best thing you get out of this whole thing with the CM Punk and Elite Vortex. And I said last week, I have no want or care or need to see CM Punk have a program with these guys because they don't have the ability to be professional and be grown-ups. These guys are in their 40s and they're acting like 16-year-olds. And they can't do business with each other. Kenny Olivier is in a trios match at Wembley Stadium this weekend and not fighting CM Punk. What does that tell you? At least the Young Bucks are having a match with FTR for the titles. At least it's one of the few competent matches that have been announced for this freaking show. So, going back to Tony Khan, are you the boss or you're not? Why are you letting the inmates run the asylum? I don't get it, man. All this drama, non-stop drama. Just when I come on here every week. Oh, hey, Collision's good. Hey, Collision's a fun and entertaining show. I like Collision. Collision is what AEW should have been this entire time. I praise Collision. I'm the guy that's painted as the AEW hater, right? I'm saying what nobody has the balls to say. I see through AEW, and that's the problem. This is not an alternative. We're being hoodwinked as wrestling fans because it's not the letters WWE, and wrestling fans in 2023 have this weird venom towards WWE, and they refer to them as the Fed. And I'm not even bringing this up to defend WWE. I'm speaking literal facts on how people conduct themselves on social media every day when it comes to the discourse surrounding professional wrestling. You're calling WWE the Fed. Yeah, it's funny that organization has more professionals than the company that proclaims to be the home for professional wrestling. Okay, hate Vince McMahon all you want. You're not hearing this shit going on over there. And that's just a shoot. That cannot be disputed. Okay? So we have this never-ending drama, and it's so silly, man. Like, oh, these people can't show up because they're buddies with the elite. Oh, I'm gonna dictate who I allow at Collision. Not even fucking Mary J. Blige's No More Drama can rectify the issues that's going on with this situation. Seriously. You can play that song right now. That Young and Restless song, No More Drama, right? You can do that whole bit. You can play the song, right? And you can't even get to try to, remedy the situation and have some levity to it and get everybody back together. But no, that can't happen because Tony Khan enables CM Punk, and Tony Khan enables CM Punk to the point that Eric Bischoff enabled Hulk Hogan. And perspective is reality. Perception is reality. That's the deal. Perception is reality. You have enough evidence to see since the time CM Punk has joined AEW that Tony Khan treats him the same way that Eric Bischoff treated Hulk Hogan during the Monday Night Wars. And again, this is not even a knock towards Punk. This is a knock towards Tony Khan. Do your fucking job. Okay, let's get to this now. We get to Dynamite and this all-in card, the biggest show in the history of professional wrestling, right? So we start off the show with Pockets and Wheeler Useless. Same old blah, blah. Orange Cassidy retains the international title. Woohoo! Then we get an Afterbirth Brawl, which signaled I already knew how things were going to go for that episode of Dynamite after that first Afterbirth Brawl. By the way, there was it had to be at least 13 people in the ring in that first segment. So we think Eddie Kingston comes back. We had the Blackpool Cuckold Club getting to the brawl with the Best Friends, and the Lucha Brothers come out. And guess what? We're having football fuckery, the international edition of Stadium Stampede. Yeah. Let's go. From there, we go from that nonsense to Kenny Olivier having a sit-down interview with JR. That goes nowhere. Unprovoked attack by Juice Robinson and Jay White at Bullet Club Gold on behalf of Don Callis. And is Don Callis now the leader of Bullet Club Gold? Who knows? Who cares at this point? Don Callis has this segment with Chris Jericho where Chris Jericho is fighting, trying to figure out whether he wants to be a heel or a face, or he wants to start a new faction. Who cares at this point what Chris Jericho's doing on TV? Chris Jericho finds out that Don Callis has this portrait of him holding his head. And then Will Ospreay attacks Chris Jericho. And then we find out that Jericho wanted to fight Ospreay at one of the Wrestle Kingdoms, but it didn't happen because of COVID and the pandemic and whatever. And like, I love Will Ospreay, but the way he's presented in AEW is a freaking joke. Yes, he defeated Olivier at Forbidden Door, and it was a great match. But really, you're having Will Ospreay be the hitman for Don Callis, and this is the use you're gonna have for Will Ospreay at Wembley Stadium to try to drag out a good match out of Chris Jericho for this one. It's a waste of time. I don't care. They're fighting for the premise of the match that they're fighting for the premise because this match was supposed to happen at Wrestle Kingdom. Now we're gonna have it at Wembley Stadium, and you made Jericho bleed. Oh, great! What else is new? It's a show on TBS where wrestlers bleed half the show. So that was what it was. We rushed into that, and then we rushed into Darby Allin and Nick Wayne against the Gates of Agony. Nobody gave a shit. Here's one of the few things I actually liked on Dynamite last night was the return of Joker Sting. I thought that was cool. The stuff with him and Prince Nana, I thought that was good. Adam Cole and MJF, no problem there. I thought their promo was very good. But again, this whole concept of them having to fight on the pre-show to necessitate the turn of whoever's going to turn on who, it's just goofy to me. I don't need to see them wrestle twice on the same show. This is your world title program, and we're more focused on comedy and will they or will not be best friends. Well, what the fuck are we doing here? This is why I have no sympathy for Tony Khan. This is why I don't have sympathy for AEW. You proclaim to have all elite wrestling. What in the blue hell is elite about what's going on right now? You had 6 weeks after Forbidden Door to build up this show, and you guys had the wherewithal to think, oh, hey, what's a good idea? Let's have 2 pay-per-views in the span of 2 weeks. So we had the Wembley Stadium show, and we just had to have All Out at the United Center. So we'll wait to the second to last week to get the card all settled together. And it's just, there's nothing right now on this show that makes me want to spend $50 to watch this pay-per-view. And I'm just being completely honest with you guys. It's just there. It's not good. It's not entertaining. It's not a fun watch. Like, I enjoyed Collision, but Dynamite is a complete and utter shit show. And there's no excuses anymore. When it gets to October, which we're 2 months away, it'll be the 4-year anniversary of Dynamite. And guess what? Your flagship show sucks. It's not good. So, we had the freaking Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match. This is sports-based wrestling? This is the stuff you guys ridicule WWE for, right? But we'll do this, and no harm, no foul, right? That's a sin that WWE has zombies in a match with Miz and Damian Priest. But, it's awesome. This is awesome. This is awesome. With Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match. Like, what the hell are we doing here, man? This is amateur hour. A facepalm couldn't even perfectly describe my feelings as I was watching that match last night. Just ridiculous. And yes, I've seen stupid stuff from every wrestling promotion, but that doesn't make what happened last night good. There's no excuse for that. I'm sick of the freaking excuses, man. You have a show, and you decide this to go with the format of a New Japan show because you don't have the ability to tell stories into what's supposed to be the biggest show in the history of your promotion's history. So, I just don't get it, man. I don't. I want it to be good. I want to enjoy AEW. I enjoy Collision. This is my 5th time saying it right now in the segment that I enjoy Collision, but your flagship show is a civic embarrassment to the wrestling industry. Dynamite is pure and utter ass. And that's what it is. You rushed through to having House of Black and the Claim that could have been saved on Collision. You rushed through the Young Bucks and the Gun Club. Just so we can have another Afterbirth Brawl, and then FTR shows up. Everything is Afterbirth Brawl and nonsense and dirt sheet stuff for programs. And it's just like, what are we doing here? So, I don't know, man. I'm just at a loss of words right now when it comes to AEW, because it's like, you guys get in your own way. Whether it's just this stupid melodrama with CM Punk and the Elite that never seems to go away, or this person that continues to leak stuff to the dirt sheets about backstage drama and turmoil, and the locker room is not happy now with Tony Khan supposedly and all this stuff. It's just nonsense. And like I said earlier, not even fucking Mary J. Blige can fix this situation. No more drama. It's all drama. It's all drama wrestling. And not even the good drama. The drama that makes you want to change your freaking channel. The one that makes you want to turn your freaking TV off. The drama that makes you question whether this is a freaking wrestling promotion or not. Is this a freaking wrestling promotion or a freaking rehab center for WWE performers who are in over their heads? Or freaking head... No, not even going to say that. You get what I'm saying, though. Like, seriously, this is a freaking embarrassment. I don't even know what to say at this point. So let's get into the impression and let's move on here. Okay? Let's get to the Excrement impression here. I'm going to take a swig of water here before I lose my voice. All right, here we go. Coming to you live on Rampage on TNT on Friday night. We have Ray Phoenix taking on Commander. We have the AW Tag Team. Let's start that over again. Coming to you live on Rampage on TNT, we have Ray Phoenix taking on Commander. We have the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships on the line as Aussie Open takes on Ethan Page and Isaiah Cassidy. From there, we have Sammy Guevara taking on John Cruz. And our main event, it's Hikaru Shida and Sky Blue taking on the team of Ruby Soho and Toni Storm. Coming up next Sunday, live from Wembley Stadium, is AEW All In. And on the 0 hour for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships is Aussie Open against MJF and Adam Cole. From there, we have FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler taking on the Young Bucks. It's match 3, Young Bucks, FTR for the AEW World Tag Team titles. From there, we have a fatal 4-way match for the AEW Women's World Championship. It's Hikaru Shida taking on Toni Storm, Saraya, and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. We have a tag team coffin match. It's Darby Allin and Sting taking on the Mogul Embassy, Swerve Strickland, and AR Fox. From there, it's a 6-man tag team match. It's the Golden Elite, Kota Ibushi, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Adam Page taking on Konosuke Takeshita and Bullet Club Gold's Juice Robinson and Jay White. From there, we have the Stadium Stampede match. It's Eddie Kingston, the Best Friends, and the Lucha Brothers taking on the Blackpool Coco Club and 3 partners of their choosing. And a big grudge match here. It's Will Ospreay taking on the Devil God, Chris Jericho. And our main event for the AEW World Championship, it's MJF against Adam Cole. More matches being announced on Twitter. Make sure to follow Tony Khan on Twitter at Tony Khan to get all your AEW tickets right now at AEWTIX.com. That's AEWTIX.com. Don't forget, you probably could add CM Punk and Samoa Joe to the list as well. But I don't know, man. This promotion is a complete and utter cesspool, and I'm just so freaking tired of it, man. It really is. It's just dumb. I don't get it, man. I really don't. I want to be excited for this Wembley Stadium show, but I'm not. Not even fucking Mary J. Blige to fix what's going on, the issues with this promotion. Tony Khan, you could win all the Wrestling Observer awards you want, that does not make you a competent booker or promoter. You are inept in both fields. And also, to be honest with you, you should take some tips from your father when it comes to actually running a business that doesn't have drama filled with it the entire time. It's a freaking joke. It's a perfect representation of what's wrong with your promotion. You let the inmates run the asylum. You let wrestlers walk all over you. And you don't have the gumption to put your foot down to rectify this shit. Even if CM Punk is not at the fault with this rumor drama that's going on, you have the right to figure out what rat is out there behind the scenes that's leaking this stuff out to the dirt sheets. But you don't want to risk your relationships with Meltzer and Alvarez and everybody else that kisses your ass in this bubble. So you're just going to let this drama fester on, and the fact that people are more fixated on this situation than your biggest pay-per-view of all time, it really tells you where your priorities are at. So you need to wake the fuck up and do your job, because this is getting ridiculous now. The fact that people are still hanging on an issue that happened this time last year over what's supposed to be a great moment for professional wrestling, it's just embarrassing. It really is. All drama wrestling, the drama that you just don't give a shit about at the end of the day. And on that note, that is what the hell's wrong with AEW this week.
This has been What the Hell is Wrong with AEW.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
One more time.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Hold up, I was on mute the whole time. You guys saw that on video. Makes honest mistake on my end, but AEW got me all loose, all over the place. I forgot to do my job here. Anyways, we're back. Before we head out today, it's time for the CLAHN of the week, and let's just play the clip.
I'm not CLAHN. Constant CLAHN. You're big on CLAHN.
One more time.
I'm not CLAHN. Constant CLAHN. You're big on CLAHN.
All right, CLAHN of the week. Last week was the Chicago White Sox. This week's distinction and this honor goes to one Mrs. Aubrey Ray Charles Edwards. Have you guys seen this story? Well, let's take a look at this. All right, I'm gonna put this up on the screen share because this is just one of the silliest things I've seen this year. And this, whether this is true or not, I have enough evidence to say that this is true. So let's check this out, shall we? So right now. There's this running thing on Twitter right now where there's a story that happened with Aubrey Edwards and this singer of a band called August Burns Red. And this is what happened. So Jake Lurs, lead singer of the band August Burns Red, spoke about how Aubrey Edwards was shocked he didn't know who she was at a record signing, full quote below. Yeah, it was crazy, man. We were doing a signing and this crazy lady comes up and gets me to sign an album from her. She then says, "You didn't recognize me, do you?" And I replied to her, "Not really. No. Should I?" In which she replied, "I'm Aubrey Edwards." I think she said her name was, and I said to her, "Who?" Sorry, I don't know that name. In which she goes, I'm a wrestling referee, maybe one of the most famous in the business. You really haven't seen me before. And I said to her, sorry, I haven't watched WWE in a few years, if I'm being honest. And I am a wrestling fan, but I've just been busy. And she laughed. She said, WWE, I'm not in that garbage. I'm in AEW. You really need to check it out and see for yourself what we were doing over there. It'll get you back in wrestling. I promise you that. And I laughed and said, have a nice day, lady. And she was walking off. She turns around and says, what are you laughing at? Before the event, security eventually moved her along because there were a ton of people behind her and she already taken up like 5 minutes of time. It was pretty insane, dude. Holy shit, man. Oh my god. Are any of you surprised? The fact that my guy, referee Tony's out there, still busting his ass on the independent circuit. It's not allowed to be on these big major promotions. While this schmuck is out there sullying the name of the promotion she works for because she can't get her head out of her own ass and realizes that the wrestling business is bigger than her, where she needs to act like she's the biggest star in the room and everything revolves around her. Hey, Aubrey Edwards, let's take some advice from Kendrick Lamar and be humble, bitch. Can you try that? It's bad enough you're incompetent at your job, yet you have the gumption and the audacity to say that you're the most famous referee in the industry. I don't even know if that's even true. That could be cap. And if you are famous, it's for how shitty of a job you do, and for the fact that you're Don Siemens and you do copyright strikes. Most famous referee in the industry. And with what we're seeing on AEW right now with that Texas Chainsaw Death match, you're gonna tell me that's gonna convince this singer to buy into wrestling again? From all the stuff I've heard about her and listening to her interviews and that podcast she does and how she carries herself, this smells 100% of truth with this whole situation. I have my jokes about her being blind as a nun and blinder than the rest from the Longest Yard movie, but she's just an egomaniac who doesn't have the recognition to see herself in the mirror and how she carries herself. Humble yourself. Try that for once, you freaking clown.
I'm not clown. Constant clown. You're big clown.
All right. On that note, we're going to put a ribbon in the bow on this week's podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed the show this week. As always, you can follow me on Twitter /X at the Hoots Podcast. I'm also on Instagram at Joshie Lopez Media. Make sure to follow us on Threads and here on YouTube at the Hoots Podcast. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel. Let's run the road to 1,000 subscribers. Leave us some feedback. What matches are you looking forward to for All In? Are you even excited for All In? Let me know in the comment section or on Twitter this week. Hit me up anytime this week and I'll give you a shout out. As always, make sure to leave us a 4 or 5 star review on Apple Podcasts. That helps expand the reach of the show. And also, for those, can you please check out the link on Spotify? That would really help us out a lot because we need to get 100 unique Spotify listeners to qualify for ambassador ads. That would really mean a lot to me. So if you guys could do me that favor, you could just press play on one episode and it'd be all the thing I could ask for you guys for help on that end. But I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. We'll be here next week for episode 375 as the road to 400 episodes continue here on Podcast at Hoots. Remember, folks, be the authentic product that is yourself. And remember, nobody dictates the pace of your life but yourself and the man upstairs. I love you guys. This was a fun episode this week. I'm sorry in advance for my venom during What the Hell is Wrong with AEW, but it just came out tonight and I had to let that stuff out. So all in all, fun episode. Have a wonderful weekend. Everybody will be here next week for the Hoots Podcast. We'll talk to y'all later next week. Yes, sir.